So here's a news update. Sorry, it's been quite a while since I put a video on. It's been busy with work and all life. Sometimes it runs a lot harder and longer than I want it to. But here's an update on my Eclipse. So I got the center console apart. I tore the back out, gutted the seats, they're out. I'm gonna take everything out of the back and relocate the battery to the back, hopefully. I had to get the console apart so I could get down here, and this cord here is a good representation on Mitsubishi back in the day. This is for your O2 sensor that goes underneath the car. So here's an update on my car. As you can get in here and look, it starts up, runs. It's actually pretty good. So I was having a problem right off the bat with when it first started. It was throwing an oil pressure light, and the oil pressure gauge right there doesn't read anything. Well, I did some searching. I replaced the sensor with the 3 I had. I had one from that car. I had one from the engine that I picked up in St. Louis. And I had one from this car. I ended up changing them out 3 different times. So this here is my oil sender sensor, which goes right here into that port. And that port is a off the oil filter housing, and the sensor sender wasn't reading right. So if you come up here, this here is my dummy switch for my oil light, and for some odd reason none of those 3 worked. So what I did was I went and got a mechanical oil pressure gauge from AutoZone. It was like 20 bucks, and I just wanted to make sure that it had oil pressure so I wasn't having to pull the engine back out and rebuild it. So I have it set up here. Can't really see it because I don't have light in here, but just a little aftermarket oil pressure gauge. Well, it reads oil pressure, but first things first, I checked if it was getting oil to the head. So I took the valve cover off, tried starting it, and it started spraying oil right out the head. So that was a good sign. So I knew it was getting oil pressure. I just thought something was going on. So that's why I bought the gauge, make sure that there was actual oil pressure from the unit. I did some searching and asked a couple buddies about what it could be and the cheapest way to fix it or find out, and they said that the stock gauges are junk, that I shouldn't even bother reading them. So that's why I got the mechanical one, and it does read. It's 40 psi, 40-45 at idle, and 2000 is about 70-ish psi for oil pressure. So it's running good. It's got good oil pressure. But everything is back together right now. I got my radiator, hoses, intake, cold air intake, blow-off valve. That's a gritty blow-off valve. Came with the car. I thought it was pretty cool from my parts car there that I got a gritty oil or intercooler tubings. So I changed all those out with that one. As you can see down there, one of the intercooler sits right there, comes right there, and goes up to the turbo. So everything is hooked up back to where it needs to be. It starts right up. The exhaust is not on it yet because the original one that came on it, as you guys know, this thing has been sitting for almost 10 years now, and it is completely rusted through, and it broke off when I was trying to move it from the storage unit to here. So I just threw it out. I'm probably going to take the exhaust off of that thing and put it on this one because that one looks pretty solid. I don't think it's been too badly rusted through. So as you can tell, I've been tearing parts off of this one so I could put mine back together. So that'll be ready to gut and keep all the parts off of that, just in case if I need it for this thing. But let me start it up for you and you can hear it run. So, as you can tell, starts right up. It's really loud because the exhaust isn't on, but I'll get that sometime this week or something. The only thing that kind of bugs me is the starter kind of doesn't like it, I guess. It's really kind of rough sometimes when you try to start it. It just, I don't know how to explain it, but the engine moves a little too much right now because I do not have the last mount on, which goes to the transmission right there. It comes across the bottom of the engine and trans, and it goes right here. So that I do not have put on, so it moves a little more than it should. I did an AC delete, so AC's not down there. Took the condenser out, the dryer out, because who needs that? It's a race car. So that's the biggest thing. I'm glad it runs. Hopefully there's no problems with it. Like I said, there might be a small noise, but I can't hear it because the exhaust isn't on it. And as of right now, so you can tell how loud it was, the exhaust just drops off right there. So yeah, it's a little loud, but oil is good.